Cool. All right, so this one, it is an experiment because you actually have someone recording the one who eaten the potato chips and see what happened. So in this case, you conduct an experiment so to get the result. So that's different, right? You not just observe it, but you do something to interfere with with the result. One, that's funny. Yes, you would eat it. Cool. So that is an experiment. You conduct an experiment between potato, like who's eating it, how's that affecting the digestive system. So this one is experiment versus the other one, the last example is observational. So those are the two things that I want you to know and know it well. There will be a couple problems, couple scenario where you have to tell me which one is which. Okay, so take a minute. You want to put that into Pear Deck because when I end this session, I will email you your note so you have it somewhere that you can save it. Right, the next one that we need to know is the frequency table. Your favorite, right? No? Okay. It's not too bad, but there's a lot of steps and some of us may forgot. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. This is the frequency table. Okay? Get a piece of paper, jot this down. If you cannot copy this fast enough, and I know some of you is like, Miss Gwen, I'm not even at home. I just log in, so I don't have anything in front of me. What do? You're gonna watch the video when you get home. You can record, you can copy down the information. You can pause as I'm talking through the problem. You can pause and take notes because you will need this for the semester exam. So you have your notes in front of you. I'm gonna be telling you right now, just have in front of you the note with the steps. It will help you. So take out a piece of paper. This is the frequency table. Some of you may remember, some may not. But before we do this, we need to figure out the class width. So for the class width, because we have 4, they tell you right here, you need to split this into 4 classes, right? So we need to find the class width. And Francisco, yes, that's the first steps. So to find the class width, I will take the maximum, which is the highest values in here, which is 40 is the highest. I'm going to minus with the lowest. The lowest in here, the value is 10. Then what I would do is I'm going to divide with the number of classes that they asked me to do. In this case, 4. Can you please check to see that my highest is correct? I think 40 is the highest, right? The lowest 10. Okay. So this would be 30 divided by 4. That would probably give you a decimal. But that is okay. We know that we can round. 7.5, which I can round to a whole number. So remember when we do class width, we want to round to a whole number. It's okay if you want to use with decimal, but I don't want to add a decimal. I want a whole number. So I would round this up to 8. Because the decimal is 5 or higher, then you round up. If it's less than 5, then I can round down. So this is 8. So this is the number that I will use. Questions for me so far? Some of you just decide to choose the class width on your own. The first step, you need to know how far is the lower limit to the upper limit. So remember lower limit and upper limit. 4 classes, we have 4 rows for you to fill in. So step number 1, find the class width. Take the max minus the min, divide by number of classes. Okay, the next step, I'm going to start with my lowest, which is the minimum, which is 10. Anyone remember how I find the next number, the upper limit? What do I do to get my next number? So the first classes go from 10. I would add 8. Yes, so I'm from 10. I'm adding 8. There's a reason why I spend the time to do it, right? Think about math. There's no reason that I spend the time to solve for something and not using it. The same thing as you writing, right? You have to find some evidence that's supporting your thesis. There's no reason for you to find evidence and then don't do anything with that. So I have that 8, so at 8, that will give me 18. So that will be my first class. Then I'm going to do the same. Move on to the next one is always one more, so that's 19. I'm continue to add 8 because the difference between the lower limit and the upper limit is always 8 in this case. So this will be 27. 28 plus 8, so this is 36. 37 plus 8, so that will be 45. But someone missed one, you're going too fast. Well, this is the review. I have to go fast so that I can go through all the topics. If this is confusing for you and you don't know what to do, please see me for help. See me in office hours. I will go step by step with you. We can do the work together again. All right? Yes, I will turn student pace, and then when I end the session, you can have your notes as well. Okay. All right, so now the tally is that I'm just going to count to see how many number belong to the first class, how many number belong to the second, the third, and the fourth. So I'm going to start with number 10. 10 is in here in the first class. 20 is in the second. 15 is in the first. 12 in the first again. 19 second. 28. 30. 34. 37. 40. 21. 21 again. 34 right here. 12. There's another 12. 15. 20. And then 25. Okay, so the tally, I'm just counting to see how many numbers belong to that class. The frequency, who remember what I do for the frequency? Yeah, I'm just using the tally, which is 6. Good. 6 again. 4 and 2. Good. All right. Cumulative frequency. This is a total. Think about I'm telling you about cumulative GPA. It's the same idea. So the first year at Northtown, you get so you're gonna start with the first one, right? 6, and then to get the next one, you add the next number. So 6 plus 6, that gives you 12. That's cumulative frequency. 12. 12 plus 4, that's give you 16. 16 plus 2, that's give you 18. So that's how I find cumulative frequency. Yes, one, that is correct. So we just add the total. Just add the next numbers. Like your GPA, you start with the first semester, then you add the GPA of the second semester, that gives you the freshman, and you add another semester, you add another semester, and right now you're going to add with this semester, that will give you your final GPA. Okay. Question on the steps, something that was like how you get that number, something I need to clarify with you. Ask the questions now.
Use the range, right? Minus, that's the range divided by 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Range divided by the number of classes. Yes. So if I ask for 5 classes, then you divide by 5. If I add 10, then you divide by 10. Okay. All right. So that is frequency table. How to construct a frequency table. You should have this done. This will be a question like this. I'll give you a list. You fill it out. Give me this. And upload the document. That's one of the questions. Other questions? Okay, so this will be the practice that I will ask you to do on your own. we're not going to do right now because the class is shortened today, so I want to go over the topics that you needed to know. So the next slide 5, is going to be your practice. You can do this on your own at home for the next couple of days, and then bring this one to office hour, and then I can help you, right? So that should be your practice. Frequency histogram. Who remember how we create a frequency histogram? If the table is given to you.
For this one, you make a dot plot in
This is not the dot plot. This is the histogram. So you have the x-axis, you have the y-axis. Does that kind of sort of remember the bar graph? Yes. So the first column is on my x-axis, the second column is on my y-axis. Yes, no space. That's important. No space. It's a bar graph, but no space. Yes. So I'm going to label the first one is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first one is 0 to 5. The second one is 6 through 10. It's just been a while, so that's why it's important that that's why I want to spend the time to go over, just to remind you. 11 to 15. And, oh, there's only 4. I did 5. Don't need that. Okay. And then I have 16 to 20. Okay, this one is from the lowest is 3, the highest is 10, so I can increase by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So first is 10, so I make the first bar graph. You can fill it in or you don't have to fill it in, it's up to you. The second one is 5, so that's between 4 and 6. The third one is 7, so that one is higher a little bit. Right here. And the last bar graph is at 3, so it's between 2 and 4. So this is my bar graph. You want to label it. When on this side, you can do frequency. Okay. So this is histogram. You want to jot this down somewhere to remind you. Frequency histogram is a bar graph with no space. The first column is the x-axis. The second column is for the y-axis. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Okay. So the next slide is for you to practice. You can do this on your own. And if you have questions, again, office hours, or you can ask me now, anything that I can clarify. But this next slide is your practice, okay? All right, this is the one that I think Francisco mentioned earlier, is the line and leaf plot. So let's do line plot, okay? Be careful with line and dot plot. Line is we use the X as the symbol, as the icon that we're going to use. The dot plot, we use the dot. So in here, I got 21. I'm going to look for the lowest, which is 17. And the highest would be 30. Okay, so I'm going to go from 17 to 30. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay. So the line, I use X. The dot plot, I will use the dot. So in here, I'm just line up the line. So 21, I have one X. 30, I have another one. 25, I have another X. 17, And then I would get to 20. There's 1, 21, another, 22, 17, I have another x, 18, 1, 20, another one, 22, whoops, sorry, 22, and then 25. So this is the line plot. If we want to do dot plot, you replace the x with the dot. Questions on line and dot plot. You guys did well on the test. So it's okay. Cool. So this is the one that for you to work on. This is for you to practice. You can do the dot or the line. Make sure that you read the instructions so you use the right symbol. The next kind of plot that you should know is the stems and leaf plot. Stem and leaf is when you split it up into 2 columns. The first column is the stem. The second column is the leaf. The stems is in the tens. The leaf is in the ones. Okay. So in here, if I look in here, the lowest 17, the highest is 30. So I would have it go from the 10, the 20, and the 30. So that's determine what number I should use. So look at the first number. I have 1, and then I have the first number is 2, and the other one is 3. So that's determine the stem. Okay. The leaf is the second value. So in here, like 21, right? So that's a 1. I don't write the 2. I'm just going to write the 1. Yes. That is correct, Francisco. Then we have 30, right? Instead of write 30, I'm just write 0. Then 25, I just write the 5 because what you can see is that you already have the 2 in the first column, so you don't have to write that again. 17, you just write the 7. 20, just a 0. 21, 22, 17 is just a 7. 18, just a 8. 20, 0. 22, 25. There's another 30. 31, 35. Okay. So that's how you do stem and leaf. In here, if I'm asking you, what is the mode? You some tell me which number represents the mode in here. Which one do I have the most? So how many modes I have in here? Not just 0. You have to combine with the stems. So in here I see that the most I have is 2 of something. So I have a bunch. The mode, you can have more than one. So I have 17 is 1. Is there another one? There should be more. We have 21, because 21, and here I have 221. I have 217. I have 225, yes. I also have 222. I have 20. Good. And then I also have 230, yes. So that is the mode. So there's a lot of numbers for the mode. It's possible. You may have more than one. You may have a lot. Yes. If it happened to be the same, then that is the mode. But if you have like one of everything, then there's no mode. Yeah.
So I have like the same amount of numbers and there's more than one mode.
If they have the same, if it's the frequency is the same, then yes. No, we don't do that. We don't add and divide. That's for the median. When we line them up and we add, then we divide. But for the mode, I just list it out and be done with that.
I have a question. So is there a single number that you like 3 times?
So if you have the number repeated twice and another number repeated 3 times, the 3 times is the most.
Okay, so repeat it 3 times.
It depends. It's the one that's repeat the most. It has the highest frequency. So in here, because the reason we have so many modes, because we have like 17. You have 217. Yes, yes. So for the 2, I have 221. I have 220. So I have the same frequency. Frequency means how many times something happened. The number is repeated. Okay. So that's stems and leaves. Let's see, you can do that practice on your own. Standard deviation. This is the one that's the most recent, and you just had the summative on this one. Okay, so some you still remember, still fresh in your mind. Some like Miss Wen, I kind of forgot. It's okay, we'll review, okay? Also, we're going to talk about how you do it using Google Sheet. There is a command listed in here that you can use. But for today, I'm just going to review how to do it by hand. If you don't remember how to do it, use Google Sheet, let me know. We'll review that as well. So population standard deviation, step number 1. Oh no. I did not allow you to write on this. So let's do this. Go to the next slide. Okay. So for this one, population standard deviation, the first step I'm finding the mean, which is the average. So I add them up, 20 plus 30 plus 25 plus 40, divide by 4 because I have 4 numbers, yes. Okay, so the average would be, I did not do it ahead of time so that we can do it together. 20 plus 30 plus 25 plus 40. 115 divided by 4, 28.75. So that's the average. That's what you're going to use. Okay, so that's the average, step number 1. Step 2, what do you do for step 2? So I'm taking 20 minus 28.75. That will give you negative 8.75. Now I'm going to do step 2 and step 3 at the same time, which is I'm going to square the values. Okay, so that would give me, yes, 76 point, it's listed in the semester folder. It should be there. 76.56, but I want to round to 2 decimal. So I round that up. Okay. So this one you square it. You square this values right here. Okay. Do the same thing for the next one. 30 minus 28.75. 28.75, that gives you 1.25. I will square it, give me 1.56. Same thing for the next one, 25 minus 28.75. 75, negative 3.75, square it, 14.06. Almost done, right? Now we have 40 minus 28. So I have 11.25, square it, 126.56. So that's step 3. So I will do step 2 and 3 together. So I don't have to retype the number from step 2. Are we okay so far with all the steps? This is the most recent one. Okay, step number 4. What do I do for step 4? So remember, what do I do for step 4?
You square them. No.
I'm gonna do some, like every step I'm do something with the previous step. So what do I do with step 3? Like to do step 4, I have to do something with step 3. Yes, that is correct. Add them together. Thank you. So I will add them together. That means I'm going to add all of these numbers together. Yes. So think about the standard deviation. Whatever you do for that step, you have to use the number from the previous step. So let's add them up. 126.56 plus 14.06 plus 1.56 plus 76.56. That get me, whoa, what just happened? What just happened? Sorry. VKCR. Skipped. Okay, cool. All right, so I would add them up. That would get me 218.74. So this is step 4. Okay, cool. Now we will do step 5. What do I do with step number 5? I don't subtract with 1 because this one is population standard deviation, so I don't have to subtract. I'm only subtract if it's sample standard deviation. So I would take whatever the number from step 4, which is 218.74, divide by 4. Yes. So this will give me 54.685. But I'm not done because I have one more steps. What do I do after I divide by 4? What do I do with that number? Square root it. Thank you, Emily. I would take the square root of 54685. Get me, I'm going to route to 2 decimal place, so that would be 7.39. That will be my final answer. That will be the population standard deviation. There is a couple questions that if you can use a Google Sheet, then you should be able to use a Google Sheet. So that's going to be a little bit faster. So that is standard deviation. Do it by hand. I'm not going to ask you to do with a sample standard deviation. So it's going to be population standard deviation for the table. So you don't have to minus 1. But the one that you have to use Google Sheet, then yes, I will ask for both. And then you should know how to use which command to use. Okay. Questions for me?